And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus on this Wednesday. We're in the middle of April already. May is right around the corner. It's 1:06 in the afternoon. Temperatures are very nice outside, mid-50s across the area with plenty of sunshine. The only caveat is it's windy out there. Those winds out of the south-southeast gusting over 30. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki along with our Ag Director Bridgette Readel. And good afternoon, Bridgette.
Is it afternoon already?
It
wow.
is. You've been here all day.
It's been I've been in, I've been out. It's been a lot of stuff today. So yay for that, right? We're super productive. You're back. I don't just have to host the show with our favorite mascot here, Cooper, the Highlander cow.
Right.
So things are going well.
And a shout out to Steve Bello for chiming in yesterday while you were flying solo.
Steve's like, hey, how's it going? Well, Steve, hello, how are you? How are things in New Jersey? And to let folks know, yesterday we had our guest, Christy Friesen, lined up, and she is a farmer in Peace Valley, Alberta, way north in Alberta, okay? I was very much looking forward to having this conversation with her, but we weren't seeing Christy. Something wasn't happening. After I got off air and got a message from Christy, they had a wildfire at their place. So I think that takes precedence.
I would say so.
Yeah.
They've obviously been dry in Western Canada as we have down here.
Extremely dry across Alberta. And she said there's always a tricky time of the year for them between snow melt and actually greening up in their neighborhood. And they're not there yet, right? They're still waiting for things to green up. So a lot of dry plant material. We didn't get into the specifics as to what sparked their grass fire. They did not have any damage to any of their buildings, but I have no doubt you're not thinking about, geez, I hope this fire's over because I've got an interview here in 10 minutes. So I think she was a little busy.
Totally understand.
Yeah,
right?
totally. So we'll reschedule Christy for another time and be able to have that discussion with her a little further.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, holiday weekend is right around the corner with Easter, and everybody's hoping for some decent weather. So let's get this cooler weather, which is coming here by the end of the week, out of the way. But today's a beauty. We are looking at temperatures topping out today in the mid-60s. It's going to be windy, I know. That's the only bad part. South-southeast winds at 20 to 30 and gusty. But mid-60s this time of the year, not bad. We should be in the mid-50s, so a good 10 degrees above normal. Clouds sticking up tonight. We'll drop off into the low to mid-40s, and we'll see a cold front sweeping across the state on Thursday. That will trigger off some scattered showers from about mid-morning through mid-afternoon here in the valley. And we'll be cooler tomorrow, back into the 50s, and then much cooler on Friday. Highs only in the mid-40s on Friday with a pretty breezy northwest wind, so it will feel chilly on Friday. But the good news is Easter weekend, we get more sunshine with temperatures rebounding on Saturday to the low 50s and right around 60 on Easter Sunday. If you're doing any travel plans throughout the northern plains, nothing to worry about. There's a lot of Easters we've had to worry about snow, snowstorms, and getting from point A to point B. Not this year. We're looking at a quiet Easter weekend. And then looking further out, and again, the LRC had forecasted this back while we were still in the winter months, that the end of April and the first few days in May were going to be some of our wettest periods. And our medium range models that we use, the European, the American, and the other models, they are all catching on with the same theme there here, that end of the month into the first few days in May, we're going to see some widespread rain across much of not just North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, down into Iowa, Nebraska. The whole Corn Belt is going to get some soaking rains from the end of April into the first part of May. So that's great news, especially for the drought-stricken regions. Now, are we going to get enough to alleviate the drought? That's one of the good news features that I have. Wish we had more, but we'll take what we can get.
We always take what we can get, right? Mother Nature is going to do as she prefers, and that's okay. But I had a report this morning that there's quite a bit more planting that's been taking place as of yesterday. Sugar beets. Oh, had to excuse me there. Almost had to sneeze. Made sure I didn't sneeze and blow out everybody's speakers. That would have been tremendous. Okay, so we are seeing some planting to the north. This is probably in the Crookston factory district for sugar beets. About 4,000 acres going in the ground, spread all around the factory districts. But there was quite a bit that's been going on further north. So exciting to see more things hitting the soil.
Right.
We're getting planted, and yesterday I would say I didn't really see much for tractors rolling, but, it's not surprising historically. Easter Monday is always sort of the takeoff point. So I think we'll see quite a lot going on next week. We'll be very excited to see that. And
Nice.
We'll have a lot of activities next week. How's that sound?
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And speaking of next week, so you sent this to me, Bridgette.
Yes.
The Lyrid meteor shower. That starts tomorrow. And it peaks next Tuesday. So Easter weekend, when we have the clear skies, go out and look up, and you should be able to see a pretty decent meteor show. And again, it peaks next Tuesday, but unfortunately, towards Tuesday, we're going to see more clouds and probably scattered showers move into the area. So this weekend, might want to take a look at that. Tonight, we should still be able to see them, but the northern lights were visible last night. And go out and check them out tonight before the clouds come in, if we're lucky enough to kind of time that out right. Should be able to check the northern lights out tonight before those clouds roll in, as well as we've had a lot of activity on the sun that is sparking. In fact, the northern lights are stretching as far south as Nebraska and Iowa, Illinois, northern Illinois. So it should be visible tonight, again, if we can squeeze that in before the clouds come in. It's all the timing thing. So a few things from Mother Nature and for any outdoor lovers to enjoy tonight and into Easter weekend as well.
Hey, it's warming up. Go outside, grab a sweatshirt, enjoy it.
That's right.
Thanks to Chad, one of our listeners. He also mentioned that the first acres of wheat and beets are going in the ground today, and that'll be up around that Buxton neighborhood. So more planting taking place. Glad to see that. Again, at all points in time when you have planting changes, road reports, planting reports, what's being done, you are always welcome to give us a call. And you can reach us on the JLA Insurance phone line, 701-293-9000. Dean and I take emails. You can use weather or ag@flagfamily.com. And then you can watch us on the live stream. And you can make comments there as well. So you can find us on YouTube and Facebook at WDAY Weather and Ag in Focus, and additionally Acres TV. If you haven't downloaded the Acres TV app as of yet, it is a free app, and you can watch what's considered the Netflix of agriculture. There's a little bit of everything for everyone down there. So many things going on in the region today. And in fact, I had a conversation with some folks this morning about our Here We Grow project. I'm hoping that we get a call here very soon in the next few days that they're going to go to plant. And thankfully, the field's not that far from me. So I intend to get there and catch some action in the field when they're putting that wheat in the ground. To those folks who are helping us custom farm 20 acres of wheat this year, thank you to Jim and Michael Yulin. They are our farm cooperators. And then also Gowan USA. Marcia and her team from Gowan have been strong supporters for us for the last several years. Really appreciate her stepping up with corn, with soybeans. And even though we're planting wheat this year and Sonalan is not a wheat herbicide, I just want to give it a plug because Sonalan does such great things for us in our soybean and our dry beans. We have broadleaf weeds that are not easily controlled post-emergent. So if you're going to use a product, use a product like Sonalan Pre-Merge because that allows you, and in fact, it's a product like Sonalan Pre-Merge because that allows you, and in fact, it's a pre-plant incorporated. That just allows you that protection early on in the growing season. And then we'll be joined again this year by Red River Retention Authority. Brian Feuder comes in to see us a couple of times over the summer months. What are some of those Retention Authority projects going on? Last year, we got to talk all about the Elm River Dam. That's the most times I've used the word dam on air all year long. And so we'll see what Brian has to share with us this year.
Perfect.
So, you want some headlines?
Let's do some headlines.
Okay. There is a Canview Dairy. They are in Connecticut. Nobody ever put Connecticut and dairies together, but yes, we are. And there is a gal there. She's the farmer, Amanda Freud. She just got done with Shark Tank, and she was able to get Kevin O'Leary to invest in her because what she has is her idea is taking fresh cow bedding, nutrient-rich fertilizer, and creating biodegradable, plantable pots for your garden. They're called cow pots. We've all seen the little peat ones that your plants can come in that you can use to transplant, and they break down in the soil. But these cow pots are great because they're coming with the fertilizer built into the pot. And as they break down, they release nitrogen, which your plants need anyway.
Right.
So what a great way. It's going to take a lot of cow pots to use up the cow refuse. But why wouldn't you, right? I think that sounds like a great idea.
Great.
So that was one thing. Speaking of cows, so I'm an avid Twitter X fan. There's a guy with an account over there, and I have to go look it up real quick. I think it's Stu Wants More. I'll double check his name. He does videos every day where he brings one of his dairy cows in, it's a Holstein, into his kitchen and like tries to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with his cow right there at the table. And it's worse than your favorite dog. This cow is licking everything, knocking everything over in the camera, in his face, literally eats the entire sandwich out of his hand. I have a lot of questions about why that cow's in the house. And I know what cows can do, and I don't know why he wants that all over his kitchen floor. It's messy, but they are hysterical. Probably because it's not my house.
Right. If it was your house, it'd be a little different.
I did have a friend say, well, it can't be that bad. It's probably like having a bunch of 7 to 10-year-olds over for a birthday party. So that is probably very true. All right. Well, we are going to be joined by our guest coming up very shortly, and that is Rick Carlson. Rick has Carlson's Loveable Llamas. Oh, let the questions begin about llamas, right? So many things we don't know about them, but we will. Addison told me yesterday he wants to know, why do they spit? Do they spit? Well, we'll find out.
They do,
more.
Don't they? Well, we're going to find out.
We're going to find out. But the thing is, Have Llama will travel. At least that's what Rick does, because he's even been interviewed by the Today Show. So we'll get a chance to ask him lots more questions when he joins us very shortly after the American Ag Network markets. Welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Oh, you guys think it's busy planting? Well, it's busy everywhere, and I'm glad to see that. Thanks for being in the field, sending us your field updates. We would love to have that. So you can go ahead and send them to me, ag@flagfamily.com. And for those of you who just know how to reach me by my phone number, or some of you are sending them on Twitter, etc., you keep on doing that. I appreciate it. Also, as we get into this season where we're going to see rain, Dean wants to see what's happening in your rain gauges that we've been giving away, right?
Yeah, you bet.
What are you going to do with that information?
Well, we can use it. We pass it along to the National Weather Service, which gives them better data to see exactly how much rain has fallen throughout our area. So we like to spread our rain gauges out, not just, the FM area, but a lot of our smaller communities out on your farm. That helps tremendously.
Yeah.
When it comes to when the National Weather Service kind of gathers data, and the more data they have, the better.
Well, because, there's some cuts being happening federally.
Oh, yeah.
So I would say it's a good idea that we can backfill as much information as we might know, right?
Yeah, the National Weather Service is already short. They were already short-staffed before the budget cuts, and now, they're not doing. It's tough.
Okay.
It's tough to be working with the National Weather Service right now.
Changes everywhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
again, those big cuts happen. Things swing back and forth from one side to the other. We cut too much, we're bringing it back. We're going to see what it looks like when it all shakes out. Our guest today is Rick Carlson. Rick is with Carlson's Loveable Llamas. That is one animal we haven't really interviewed or talked very much about. So, Rick, welcome to our first llama interview. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Here.
Okay. Tell us about the llamas. How'd you get started in raising llamas, and what are you doing with them?
Well, yeah, we have llamas. Well, it was years ago. We've had them probably about 25 years now. So I guess kind of years ago when our kids were young, and we were kind of checking these things out. Well, I grew up on a dairy farm in central Minnesota, Clarissa.
Yes.
And so when we got married and had kids, I wanted two things. One was to live in the country, and one was to have some animals. But when our kids were little, I wanted an animal that was just really good with kids and people, and something different. I'm not out of the mainstream at all, but I grew up with cattle. They were all around, horses, pigs, sheep, all that. So I don't know if we'd check things out, and I don't know how they got on the radar, but once they were, every place you went and saw llamas, they were just so good and so people friendly, and so that kind of was the animal of choice down the road.
So
Yeah.
do llamas take up, when you mentioned cattle, right? And you grew up with the dairy farm, and you need a certain amount of pasture per animal.
Yep.
Do llamas take up less space?
Well, they do. They certainly do. They're probably only about 400 pounds, 300 to 400 weight-wise, and they're very efficient. So the stocking rate they figure for llamas is about 4 llamas per acre. So
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and Rick, we've got a question from one of our listeners just emailed in, asking what is the life expectancy of a typical llama?
Well, if things go right, they're 30s. They're very similar to the horse as far as longevity. I'd say average maybe only like 13, 14, because there always seems to be something to get in the way of a good life sometimes.
Yeah, right.
Don't let them have cigars, Rick. That's probably the best thing, right? Keep their healthy lifestyles.
So.
Okay. Are they just pasture grazers, or do you have supplemental feed for them? There's a lot of folks that are just thinking, I see llamas or I've seen them in books, but I don't know anything about them.
Well, llamas are a ruminant, so they're very similar to the cattle. So they're basically pasture animals. So grass would probably be their main food, and then wintertime, of course, is you got hay and the feeders for them and grain and stuff. We do have feeders out all year long, so they are supplemented hay if the grass is not good or it don't rain or stuff like that. So they always have extra feed that they have access to also.
And Rick, how do they handle the cold? Being from Minnesota, are they inside most of the winter? Do they get out and graze in the winter? Do they like the snow, or no? They'd rather be in a warmer climate?
Well, that's a good question. Everybody asks me if they like this or they like that. I have no idea. But
I
but
forgot to fill
but
out the comment form.
yeah, but the basics or the background is, I mean, they are from the mountain areas of South America, so they're the Andes. Everybody kind of relates them to Peru and Argentina. So they actually live quite high up in the mountains. So I mean, they're in the cold weather. So they got all that wool, very warm, high quality fiber, which keeps them very warm. Our animals are outside the whole winter
Hmm.
and summer. I really have no barn. I have some. Well, I guess I have a tree windbreak, and that's basically our shelter, which is a bedding pack and which generates heat and that. So between that and the heavy wool, they're just fine in the winter. And summertime, heat. Summer heat is probably harder on most animals than winter cold. So you got to kind of watch the summer and shear them and
Well, it's terrible on
um,
me. I can understand. They're wearing a lot more hair than I am.
yeah.
and
So
and Rick, when you said you have to shear them, do you use the wool, the llama wool for anything, or?
we do, yeah. They have a very good high quality wool, animal family.
Hmm.
So everybody kind of relates the alpaca with being the high quality fiber, and they make a lot of clothing articles and all that out of all the alpaca. However, llama is a very yes, they are good guard animals. Sheep is probably what they mostly guard
Mm-hmm.
because sheep are small and coyotes like them. But I mean, you can relate that to any kind of pasture animal. We've had llamas go out and guard cow calf operations. Coyotes can be kind of hard on the calves, especially at birth. So we've had llamas in those situations and protect whatever they're in with. So very, very good guard animals. Yeah.
Well, Rick, we're going to take a quick break with our news, but when we come back,
Okay.
there's all sorts of questions for you about. I know you have a lot of connections to 4-H in Minnesota. We want to talk about that.
Oh,
You've had interviews on
okay.
national television. We'll certainly have a burning question. Do llamas really
Okay.
spit and why?
Oh,
So we're going to get to
well,
some of those things when we return. We are with Rick Carlson with Carlson's Loveable Llamas, and we'll be back.
they spit to get the feed. They spit if they get too close to each other and too annoyed by another one or something like that.
If you spit at me, Wysocki, good
well,
Lord.
you guys are pretty close there.
We are pretty close, and she can be annoying sometimes. So I mean, there's always that chance.
Yeah. So you guys are probably safe.
Okay.
But yeah, most bidding is done amongst themselves. So.
Interesting.
And then the more you work with your animals too, the more use they are to people and stuff like that. So we actually see very little spitting at our place.
Oh, thank God.
Right. With kids and humans in general. So what makes them such good herders? Do they, I mean, the spitting, or do they get aggressive like with coyotes to keep them away, or how does that work?
Yeah. Well, they're not actually herders, they're protectors. But I guess that's probably part of it too. I mean, they have been known to kind of circle between the predator and the sheep or whatever they're guarding. Yeah, and I don't know, just instinctively, like I say, I kind of call it that Jekyll Hyde syndrome. I mean, you put them in the situation like we do with people and all that, they are just so good. I mean, kids are hanging on them and stuff like that, and they just stand there and suck it all up. But you put them into the guard situation and where they have to be protectors, they can be very aggressive. Yeah, they've been known to kill coyotes, fox, stuff like that. So I mean, yeah, they're kind of two different animals within their own self.
And that's amazing because coyotes and foxes, they're quick. Llamas don't look. I mean, are they fast animals? Or
Takes one good kick and you're toast.
Kick, and that's it. Yeah, I guess.
Well, yeah, I never see that part of it either. I mean, most of the guarding is done in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they can be quick. Yeah, they're they say they can run up to 30-35 miles an hour. So I don't know, that's faster than me. But yeah.
Next company picnic is llama races on the front lawn.
I like this idea.
Oh, there you go.
Well, and honestly, you put them in a situation, they know the bad actors. They can sort them out.
Right.
They got a filter.
Huh.
So some of those situations that you've taken them to, Rick, you've had them at libraries doing programs with students. You have a lot of activities with 4-H. Can you give folks a feeling of what are some of the things that your llamas are doing and how they're interacting with the public?
Oh, we do. Yeah, we do. What our llamas. I grew up in 4-H. Our kids grew up in 4-H. So in Carver County, well, I mean, llamas are new, but they're not new.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there were llama programs going on in 4-H and some of that stuff. So in Carver County here, which is right outside of the cities, I started the Carver County 4-H Llama Project, and oh my gosh, we got all kinds of kids that were interested in it. And as it continued, it got bigger and bigger. Well, then as it kept getting bigger, I mean, it doesn't cost a lot to feed 5 llamas, but it costs a lot to feed 55. So
I bet.
so we started expanding and started doing birthday parties and field trips and that. And man, they just catch on everywhere they go. And finally our 4-H got so big. We had over 100 kids at one time. And so we had one of the biggest llama projects in the whole country, and that's still huge. It kind of dived after COVID, but we're back up to probably about 85 kids in the project now again.
Rick, are you? Go ahead, Rick. Sorry.
No, then I was going to say, as the birthday parties and the field trips progressed, we started getting calls to senior centers and special needs groups, and oh my gosh, all these things, and it is just such a fun, rewarding experience to be working with all those different people. They just appreciate it so much. So
that's great.
Yeah, and that's where the llama, they just go into those facilities. We take them in, and they just act so good. They just stand there and wait for people to, I don't know, to pet them and stuff. So
that's great.
Yeah.
And Rick, we said, and this is kind of going off base. One of our listeners sent an email question in, asking, Can you eat llamas? Are they edible animals?
Well, that must have been a farmer that sent that one.
Yeah, right.
Well, anyway, um, yes, it's something we usually don't talk about up here because people
I would
don't
hope
like
not.
to
Yeah,
hear
right.
that. Yeah, but when you relate it back to their native territory in South America and that, the llama to them is a very important animal, and llama alpaca is a menu item down there. So I mean, if you can envision those little communities down there at the foot of the mountains,
Sure.
they use the fiber, the packing, the guarding, and when those people need meat, they're not rich people. Um, they do eat their animals, yeah. Just like people eating animals up here.
Sure.
I mean,
But we
there's
don't.
goats get consumed.
No.
No. And Rick, are
Yeah,
you
so-
still located in Carver
County.
County?
We're in Carver County.
Do you go to You've been to Carver Days before, haven't you?
Oh, and yeah, in Carver,
Yeah.
Steamboat Days.
Steamboat Days, yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking because my best friend lives in Carver and we go to Steamboat Days every summer, and I'm like, that name sounds familiar. I think I've run into him with his llamas before.
So you've spent some quality time with the llamas, is what you're saying.
I did. We got to pet them. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
You can't be bad if they didn't kick you or spit at you.
They did not kick me. I'm very happy.
Uh-huh.
So, Rick, you mentioned earlier selling them for, guard animals, etc. Does that happen a lot, or are your llamas mostly going into programs like 4-H, etc. with kids?
Well, part of the problem is I don't have enough llamas to meet the needs of people that want to buy one. And I mean, we do sell them as guard animals. We do sell a lot of them as pets or 4-H animals. So they're kind of going into both situations. And I don't know, there doesn't seem to be a lot of llamas out there for sale when I talk to people, because somehow they all funnel their emails to me and want llamas, and we try to meet their needs as best we can, but I can't meet the needs of all the people that are asking for llamas. We do tend to have between 10 and 15 babies a year, and we're right into baby season right now. So those llamas, as they grow about a year old or so, and the males mostly, because you kind of try to keep the females in the herd. So a lot of the males will sell for pets or whatever too. So. Mm-hmm.
There is so much going on with llamas. We just didn't even know. Okay, which begs this, Rick. You've done interviews with some national TV shows, etc., because of the excitement of people wanting to talk about the llamas. Has anything ever gone bad? Have the llamas behaved themselves nicely when the camera crew arrived?
Oh, they're fine. These llamas, I don't know, they have so much people activity. We're out in the pens with them all the time with groups, and I think they behave pretty well on TV.
They might even perk up their ears and try to look a little good.
Good, looking good for the camera, right?
Absolutely.
They're pretty photogenic is the word. Yeah.
So when the llamas aren't at out stopping by, say if you are a field trip from a school, that type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. We try to do everything by appointment. So today, right now, there's some visitors out here. Our boy, who's a big part of the llama team, he's taking them around right now and talking about llamas and taking them into the baby pen. So again, this is where the llamas get all the people time. So we do a lot of those. We do have a lot of field trips and school groups, and all those same people we go out to come here. The special needs groups, do a lot with them. We do have a website, Carlson's Loveable Llamas, and on that you can schedule a visit. So
I think scheduling would be a good idea. If a busload of folks just show up, that might be a little overwhelming for you and the llamas, Rick.
Well, it's pretty much got to be by appointment. We do Well, therapy, I guess, is kind of a buzz term for this, but companies and office groups, they'll come out and for the afternoon and learn about llamas. We got picnic tables, and they have their little lunch here, and kind of get a break from work, and a little therapy session. So I guess you could call it.
See, we could have llamas at a company picnic, Dean.
We could use it around here.
Can we just get a company llama?
Company llama.
Hey, well, and that begs a question, and I'm guessing the answer is no. But can can you adopt a llama like you can a dog or a cat? I'm guessing you have to have some specific license, and you can't just keep it in your
Apartment?
but a house. Like if you've got a large, let's say you live on an acre, you're not a farm, but do you have to have a special license for the llamas, Rick?
Exotic animal license?
Yeah.
No, they're just just like the cattle, the horses, the sheep. No, we have no special permitting for them.
Oh, Rick, this has been so much fun to visit with you. Thank you for the time. We really appreciate that. And again, for folks who've been listening, this is Rick Carlson. He's with Carlson's Loveable Llamas out of Carver County, Minnesota. And you can contact him through their website. I think he'd enjoy that.
Yeah, thanks, Rick, and we'll see you this summer down at Steamboat Days when I'm down there visiting.
Well, sounds good. Well, thank you guys for having us. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks again. Thanks again, Rick. Appreciate it. Yeah, when we come back, we'll have another recap on weather, take a look into your Easter weekend forecast, and we'll hit on a couple of more ag topics. All that and more coming up right after the break. And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. 1:54 in the afternoon. Temperatures outside 58 degrees. On our way up into the mid-60s today. Pretty decent day out there.
Are we going to get there? It's almost 2 o'clock.
Oh yeah, we'll get to about probably 62, 63.
Okay.
If we're lucky, 64. But yeah, it's a windy day out there though. Those south winds right now gusting over 30 miles an hour. And enjoy today because it does get cooler for the next couple of days. A little bit of rain in the forecast for tomorrow. Not much, a tenth of an inch or so. So really just kind of a drop in the bucket, if you will. But more chances for rain next week. That's the good news. And Easter weekend, if you're doing any traveling in the Northern Plains, looks good. No snow in the forecast throughout North, South Dakota, Minnesota. So that's good news there. A little cooler at the end of the week, but then we warm right back up for Easter. So your Easter egg hunts for the kids should be pretty nice outside.
That's my guess.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
For all those who are currently busy stocking up at the grocery store for all their Easter egg candy, have at it.
Right.
Enjoy. Don't forget the Peeps. We had a whole discussion on Peeps yesterday because there is a milk-flavored Peeps. Let me say that again. The milk is flavored like Peeps.
Oh.
Yeah, so look for that in your grocery
Gosh,
store
that'd be way
shelves.
too sweet. No?
I don't know.
See, I never liked, I wasn't a Peep fan.
Make a s'more with them. I'm telling you.
Ooh.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Now that might work.
See, it's s'mores weather.
That might work.
We're almost there.
It is.
Goodness.
I'm still hung up on a milk-flavored Peep.
I meant milk flavored like Peeps.
Yeah, but you said it, and then it
Completely
just
wrong.
It like flashbanged into my mind that I could like taste it, and I was like, "Oh, that's not
Not
gonna
right.
work out."
Sorry, Addison. Just when we think things are going well, I will say something that throws Addison completely off, and he's like, "We're done here. Can't do this anymore." Okay. What we can do? All right. I need to know if anybody out there has a Porsche tractor. Not kidding. Porsche made tractors for a while. So they, of course, came from Germany. And the guy who was the German engineer behind it all, his name was Professor Ferdinand Porsche. And this was all happening about the same time that Henry Ford was building tractors. There was a time in his life and career where Henry Ford thought that he had more value in creating a tractor than he did a car. But he did hope that every farm would have a Ford car and a Ford tractor on them. Well, the German engineer Porsche, he got busy started on a prototype in 1934. Then World War II came along and, well, kind of ran out of the ability to build things, right? It wasn't going very well. And, oh, wait, Jay Thomas knows something. Jay's in here. You want to talk about a Porsche tractor?
We actually filmed.
Volume switch
There
there.
it is.
There you go.
We were up somewhere in northern North Dakota. There's the Martha Hawk Museum.
That is by close to Rugby.
Yes, we went
Yes.
up there and filmed. They have everything. They had a Porsche, and that thing was. It looks like you can. If it didn't say Porsche, you would look at it and go, "Damn, I bet that was built by Porsche."
Oh,
They're really cool looking.
so that's one of the things I want to do this summer is go to that. It's somebody in Martha Hawk
Yeah, it's
Museum.
Martha and is it Martha and Dale? I think it's Martha and Dale.
Martha and Dale Hawk.
We were up there. We could have spent an entire week there filming what they and they were taking stuff out. I mean,
So
let's take this out and go for a ride
and they're saying that these tractors stopped production in 1963.
early
and
60s.
Very limited number of them that were released to the U.S.
They're rare, and I mean we film a lot of stuff, and that's
Yeah.
the only time we ever ran